Have you ever felt like you're up against a giant? A challenge so huge, so intimidating that everyone around you says it's impossible. Today, we're diving into one of history's most epic underdog stories, a tale that proves size isn't everything and that courage can change the world. This is the story of David and Goliath. Imagine a valley, the Valley of Elah. On one side, the entire army of Israel, trembling in their boots. On the other, the mighty Philistine army, confident and menacing. And stepping out from their ranks is a champion unlike any other. His name is Goliath. This guy's the stuff of nightmares. He's over 9 feet tall, a literal giant. He's covered head to toe in bronze armor that weighs more than a person. He carries a spear with a tip like a weaver's beam and a shield so massive it requires its own carrier. For 40 days, every morning and every evening, Goliath strides out and bellows a challenge across the valley. He taunts the Israelites, mocking their God and daring them to send out a single man to fight him. Winner takes all. The losing army becomes the servant of the victor, but who would dare face this monster? The Israelite soldiers, even King Saul himself, are paralyzed with fear. 40 days of this, can you imagine the blow to their morale? Now let's shift scenes. Miles away in the quiet fields near Bethlehem, we meet our hero, but he doesn't look like one. He's a young boy named David, the youngest of 8 sons. He's not a soldier. He's a shepherd. His days are spent watching over his father's sheep, protecting them from lions and bears. He's skilled with a simple tool, a sling. While his older brothers are at the battlefront, David is considered too young, too insignificant for war. One day, David's father, Jesse, gives him a simple task. Take this food to your brothers at the camp, he says, and see how they're doing. So David loads up bread and grain and cheese and makes the journey to the valley. He arrives just as the armies are drawing up their battle lines, and he hears it for himself, the booming, arrogant voice of Goliath, hurling insults and challenges. David watches as the bravest soldiers of Israel run and hide, but David doesn't feel fear. He feels something else, outrage. He turns to the soldiers nearby and asks, "Who is this guy who dares to defy the armies of the living God?" He can't believe what he's seen. His older brother, Eliab, overhears him and gets angry. He accuses David of being arrogant and just coming to watch the battle. He tells him to go back to his sheep. But David's question creates a buzz. Word spreads through the camp like wildfire. There was a boy here who was not afraid of the giant. The news eventually reaches King Saul. Intrigued, Saul summons David. When this young shepherd boy stands before the king, he says something astonishing. "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul looks at David, a kid, really with no armor, no military training, and says, "You can't go. You're only a boy, and he's been a warrior since he was young." It's the logical response, right? But David has a comeback that isn't about logic. It's about faith and experience. He tells Saul, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." David isn't boasting about his own strength. He's pointing to his track record with God. He's saying, "The same God who was with me in the quiet fields will be with me on the loud battlefield." Saul is moved. He sees a flicker of hope where there was none. "Go," he says, "and the Lord be with you." Saul then tries to equip David for a traditional fight. He places his own royal tunic on David, puts a bronze helmet on his head, and dresses him in his own coat of mail. He even gives him his sword. But it's all wrong. David can barely move. The armor is heavy, unfamiliar, and clunky. It's not his. He takes it all off and says, "I cannot go in these because I am not used to them." This is a crucial moment. David refuses to fight Goliath on Goliath's terms. He won't use the world's weapons. He's going to use what he knows, what God has already made him an expert in. He walks to a nearby stream, a simple clear brook, and carefully selects 5 smooth stones. He places them in his shepherd's bag. With his staff in one hand and his trusty sling in the other, he walks out to face the giant. When Goliath sees David approaching, he's insulted. He looks at this handsome, ruddy boy and scoffs in disbelief. "Am I a dog?" he roars, "that you come at me with sticks?" He curses David by his gods and promises to feed his flesh to the birds and wild animals. The intimidation is at its peak. But David's reply is one of the most powerful declarations of faith ever spoken. He shouts back, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands. The fight is on." Goliath lumbers forward, expecting to crush this boy. But David doesn't wait. He runs quickly toward the battle line to meet him. As he runs, he reaches into his bag, takes out a stone, places it in his sling, and begins to whirl it. With a practiced, powerful motion, he lets it fly. The stone rockets through the air with incredible precision. It strikes the giant right on his forehead, the only spot not protected by his helmet. The stone sinks in, and Goliath, the invincible champion, stumbles and falls face down on the ground. The valley falls silent for a second, then erupts. David runs over, takes Goliath's own massive sword, and finishes the job. When the Philistines see their hero is dead, their courage evaporates. They turn and run, with the Israelite army chasing after them in a triumphant rout. A single boy with a single stone and a whole lot of faith just defeated an entire army's greatest fear. David didn't see a giant too big to hit. He saw a target too big to miss. He faced his challenge not with fear of its size, but with faith in the size of his God. So what's the giant in your life? Is it a career goal that seems impossible? A personal struggle that feels overwhelming? This story reminds us that we don't have to use the world's armor. We don't have to play by the giant's rules. We can face our challenges with the unique skills and faith we already have. The battle belongs to a higher power. Thanks for journeying back in time with me today. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of courage and faith. Let me know in the comments what giant you're facing. You might just inspire someone else. See you next time.